Hey guys, late night thoughts. Okay, here's a deep one. People need to think for a minute, slow down and think about this. All right, this is some of my deep thoughts that I'm having. People have no idea how powerful they are. Now think about that for a moment. People have no idea how powerful they are, and I mean each and every individual that walks this earth, right? And what I mean by that is here recently in my own life, I had an opportunity to become very bitter and very angry about something that happened personally in my life with my adopted family, the ones that adopted me. Okay. Um, there's been some not misunderstandings. There's been some disagreements, right? And something I learned here recently, was how powerful I truly am. And I'm still yet to learn, but I'm learning. Let's just say that I'm learning how powerful I am, and I'm going to elaborate on that because I don't want to sound like somebody who's arrogant. What I mean by that is most of my life, from early childhood clear up until adulthood, I was shown what I call conditional love, where anytime somebody wanted to show me love, it was usually conditional, especially within the family. And I don't think a lot of people understand that they do love conditional too much, right? And it's just call it something that missed generations or something. I don't even know what to call it, but it's just this normal thing that seems to happen in a lot of families, is this idea of just conditional love. Like, in order to receive my love, you have to behave a certain way. In order to receive my love, you have to do a certain thing for me. In order to receive my love, you owe me something. I don't like that mentality, right? And something I've learned is that there is unconditional love in this world. It's hard to find, and I think the reason why it is like I said, so many people live conditional lives, and something I learned from my family I have now with my wife and my son, especially my son. He's taught me this lesson unknowingly. I'm going to love this video in future. I can show him someday, I hope. Or if I'm gone, maybe he'll see it. That'll be even better, but I'd rather be here for it, But what I'm saying is my son taught me what it was to love unconditionally. And I'm going to explain that. When I was his age, I was never loved, unconditionally by anyone, if I can remember correctly. Yeah, nobody strikes my mind. But watching my boy grow, I've been able to love him in a way that I was never loved, with that unconditional love. My boy has to do nothing to receive my love. He owes me nothing, right? And that's the way I'm going to raise him, is that he owes me nothing for my love. And why is that? It's just the way it's supposed to be, I think, because that's the way I want to be loved. And I think people that come from trauma and abuse, hopefully some can agree with me, or some have learned this, or some are learning this, because living a life of trauma and abuse is horrific, and nobody deserves that their whole life. It's sad because it happens to so many people. But what I'm trying to cover on that is unconditional love is amazing. It could change things for everybody big time, because for me, it changed my viewpoint on life. It changed my purpose within my family. It allowed me to become more present when I wasn't for years. um, I've learned a lot from it, you know. And sorry, guys, my medicine's making my brain fog a little bit. Something I wanted to add to it. I'm trying to have it ring a bell. Sorry. Let me pause the video for a second. Okay, I get long-winded and I ramble, so I apologize, but I remember now. Okay, the reason why I say unconditional love is so important, right, and why it's so important to me and why I really preach about unconditional love is that in a human being, this is my opinion, in a human being, when they realize the depth, sorry, this guy on a motorcycle, when a human being realizes the depth that they can hate and the extent to which they can love, it gives you a very good understanding of the world. It allows you to understand things a little bit better from more than one perspective. Let's put it that way. And then what I'm getting at, right, is that I could have continued that conditional love that I was taught all my life and that my adoptive parents taught me. No offense to them. It's like I said, this is a generational thing that I think a lot of us of my generation and maybe some younger people and hopefully some older people are beginning to realize is that this is like a curse that needs to be broke, right? And since the whole disagreement and everything that happened within that family where I removed myself, you know, I joined the service. Long story short, I joined the service. I took off. I got married right before I got out, had a baby right before I got out, and I never went home to where I was from. Instead, I went where my wife and her family were from because I knew she needed her mom and dad, and she needed to rekindle that relationship. Because at the time, I thought I had rekindled mine with my family. And I thought that our relationship, personally, I thought it could withstand that kind of distance for a time. Excuse me. And yeah, what I learned from that was you can decide your line, if you will, the future of your line. You can project it. You can't control it, but you can project it. You can steer it to an extent. And what I mean by that is I was born into trauma and abuse and, I mean, absolute horror, if you will. And even after the conditional love I was shown for so many years, I still learned what it was to be loved unconditionally because I had a wife that loved me unconditionally. I had a mom and a dad on her side that I didn't have to do anything. I mean, they welcomed me with open arms. They never asked about my past. They never, bugged me on anything of that nature. It wasn't a popularity contest. It was you chose your wife, and if she chose you, then we choose you too. It was that simple. And I never had to do anything to receive that. And I think that is so tremendous because people don't realize how powerful they are. Because you think about it, them loving me that way got me to where I'm at today, right? My wife loving me the way she loved me got me to where I am today, unconditionally, right? My son, unknowingly, as a child, loves me unconditionally. It's like I don't have to give him anything per se to get his love. Like he just wants to play and have fun and to be a child, to be innocent. And I will say it out loud, I will protect that at all cost. And I mean all cost, because that's how important it is to me, because I realize the gravity of what I hold in my hand, right? My son's future will not be tarnished because of trauma, abuse, learning from conditional loving from other people. He will be loved at home unconditional. which will break my family's generational curse. And my line will project forward. Grayson will go into the future, leading our family, leading my blood, if you will, in a different path than what it was already destined to go down. We haven't broken it yet, but we're on the right path. And I really believe people could use that message, because there's a lot of hate in the world, like I've said. There's a lot of people that are hurting. And men, I really hope you listen to what I just said, because you are very important. You have the power in your hand to send your line in any direction you choose, by your actions and the way you love. They, and you guys always know what I mean by they are terrified of us figuring that out. Because in my opinion, when men and women, and fathers especially, learn this, and they learn to embrace that unconditional love, and they learn to use it as a weapon against them, they can't beat us, guys. There ain't enough destruction on this planet that could beat that kind of love. No way. And the future that's going to bring, you guys see what I'm saying? It's very powerful. Realize how powerful you are. Anybody listening to this, realize how powerful you are and your choices, how far forward they can project, right? We got to get away from this simple-minded thinking like they want us to think. And we need to move into this higher level of thinking where we think about not just ourselves, but we think about everyone. We think about what our choices are going to do, how we raise our children, what that's going to do to society. We have to think about those big things. Because if we don't take care of it and then teach them right and prepare them, they will inherit a world that is wicked and horrible. And it all could have been prevented by simply the majority of us making the right choices and thinking that big. Because that's how powerful we are. Humans are the most powerful force on this earth, as far as I'm concerned. Because we can choose the future. Think about it. And think about how powerful that is.